Okay, this thing on? Yes, we are recording and let's get with it. Hello everybody, this is Khatib Shunar and it is Wednesday, July 29th, 2026. It is a steamy, hot, humid, muggy day down here in New Orleans, baby. They tell me the temperature is in the hundreds. Ooh, is it hot and sticky outside? So why don't you stop and get you a cold one? Hey, a cold snowball, a cold soda, or even a happy hour smooth but cool drink. Hey, make it neat. Chill it, bartender. Yes, once you get you something nice and cool today. And if you don't drink, get you a nice bottle of flavored water. Get you some mints and pineapples or your favorite fruit. Cut them in wedges and drop them in a nice cold bottle of water and sit back and relax. Ooh, child, this is the moment to cool down. So I'm back at it again. I'm on the blog. I'm recording live. And I'm going to post this video of me recording live underneath the audio of today's blog. So let me remind you once again, we're doing our only audio series for a little bit. I'm just trying out some things, trying to see how they work for me and you as the readers and the listeners. Most of my people who follow me, I get messages every now and then. They like the audio because they're working. It's a busy world and they don't really have time to read. And so I'm trying to see how this only audio service is going to work. Looking at the numbers and see if the numbers are the same or they're higher. And now for my readers who love to read while they listen to the audio, hey, I haven't forgot you. We're going to go back to the reading and audio soon, but I need to try this out to see how these numbers look and how this works for my other listeners. I'm trying to have a balanced feel right here. Okay, so with that being said and done, let's take care of business before we get into our little talk. So I'm asking all of you who are hearing this right now, you're listening to this on your iPad, on your iPhone, your Android device, on your MacBook, or on your Windows PC, or whatever device, on your YouTube, on your TV in your living room. If you're listening to this, I need all of you to support me. I need you to donate to the blog. Yes, the blog is good, it's beautiful, it's uplifting, it's inspiring, it's motivational. You can get a laugh or two. But the blog is not free. And I need help to keep the blog up and running. You know, I have to pay fees, balance, and dues to keep it rolling. And also the blog contributions help fund me trying to get a few books out to you all so I can publish a few books, so I can have something coming out real soon. So the blog supports me as the independent writer, and it help keeps our online presence going, because you know we don't have a Facebook, we don't have Instagram, and we don't have TikTok. I generally don't use those platforms, and at the moment I'm not willing to try and see if that works for me. I like having my own platform, so I can say what I want to say and just have a little freedom, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to be, I don't want a moderator or nobody watching over me and flagging me and stuff. So I kind of like doing my own thing as an artist. And so I haven't touched those platforms yet. Maybe one day, but right now we just have our own blog. So support the blog. Support the blog. I ask you to support the blog. I appreciate every nickel, penny, dime, and prayer. Okay, so let's get rolling with today's feature. And so today's feature you're gonna like this. And so I'm talking about family. So for the last 7, 8 months, my family and I have been gathering on the weekends. And sometimes these weekends could be long. Oh my God. Our weekend can start on a Friday night, pause on Saturday, and back rolling Saturday about 3, 4 o'clock up into the wee hours of Sunday morning. And then a break, and then a regathering for dinner time. That could be our weekend sometime. And let me tell you, I enjoy every bit of it. And I want to thank all of my cousins and friends who come out and hang Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That's a lot. That's a blessing to have family and friends to be in your corner and to support you, and you support them. And it's like a real Tylenol. You know what I'm saying? It's like that. It's like a pill that takes the pain away. Now, I'm not advocating that you take pills. I'm sorry if I said it like that. But having your family and friends around who are genuine, even though they may be crazy at moments, and sometimes you want to just like, oh my God, slap them. They're the best thing to have in this world. That's a blessing from the Creator to have family and friends. Okay, and so we're going to talk about that in this blog. So my family and friends come over, and I was sitting there at the Pitty Pat table. Yes, Pitty Pat. Pitty Pat is the official card game of the South. Okay, so if you're sitting here playing Pitty Pat, 50 cents a hand. Yeah, 50 cents. You know, just having fun. 50 cents a hand. And let me tell you, I had a flashback, beyond flashback. Okay, I thought about when I was young and how my grandmother would have all of us over for dinner after service. And I remember on Fridays we used to have fish fries, and sometimes on Saturday we would go on the lake or City Park or Alderman Park, or just play in front of the fire hydrant. You remember that? My grandfather would cut the Johnny plug on. Yes, I'm showing my age. The Johnny plug. My grandfather would cut the Johnny plug on, and we would get in front of that Johnny plug. Yes, on Sear Street in the St. Bernard Housing Condominiums, my T calls it. Right there in the St. Bernard Projects, we would get in front of that Johnny plug, and we would have a blast. Oh my God, the best of time. Who needed an Olympic size swimming pool when you have a Johnny plug right in the corner from your house? I'm glad my Papa Wallace was able to do that for us, but unfortunately, you know, you all today, you can't do that because they put locks on the fire hydrants, and you can't have fun like that like we did. Hey, shout out to the 70s. Hey, those 70s babies. Hey, we had a blast. 70s, early 80s. Hey, that was the time to be a child. Okay, and so I remember that, and it just brought back to my heart, like, wow, family is everything. And yes, we have our issues with family. I'm not perfect. I won't even advocate or pretend like I am. I have disappointed some family and friends before, knowingly and unknowingly. And, I apologize to all of you openly, to the world right now, to all my family and friends, if I offended you or made you feel some type of way, or I sincerely apologize openly from the depths of my heart. So I'm doing this because I want all of us to make amends with our family. I have brother, two sisters, and I love them, and they mean the world to me. We have all had our issues as brothers and sisters. I have a sister in Lafayette, and I have a sister here in New Orleans, and a brother here in New Orleans. And even though we have different mothers and different dads, hey, you figure all that stuff out. I'm not getting into the details. You have to figure that out. Okay? Or maybe I should give you a hint. So my sister in Lafayette, we have the same mom, but different dads. And my sister and brother who lives in New Orleans, we have the same dad, but different mom. Okay? Okay, now you got that. And so I'm rambling, but you got to forgive me, Evan. I'm not a perfect public speaker, and I don't want to lose you with rambling. So, again, I'm here to push that we all practice forgiveness and healing, and we do a rebuild of our families, because that's important. It's important to have family by your side, and my grandmother knew that coming up, and she just knew how to build family, even though we had our issues. She worked on them in her own way. And even coming up as a kid, like my grandmama made sure that we had connections with one another. I had a lot of cousins, and so my grandmother, she would pair us up. Some age difference, some character difference. Like me and my cousin Olive, we were paired, and we totally different people. Like to this day, like we were like night and day. But my grandmother saw that, hey, y'all two need to be a pair. And so that was my growing up pair or whatever. And to this day, even her children are close to me. Her daughter is very close to me because, like when she had her daughter, like I was there, for her. So, we have to work on our family ties. And let me just get into this reflection, because I'm rambling. I don't want to lose you. I'm a writer. I'm not a public speaker. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a priest. I'm not an imam. I'm just a writer with a story to tell. And so I'm going to go ahead and let this flow, this blog. And I did press record. And so I won't have to record this again. And I enjoy all of you. I appreciate you, and for you who could see me live, this is going to be posted under the audio of this reflection. So remember, this is only audio. We're trying something different. So pass this on to your family, friends, and loved ones. Share this beautiful piece with them. And so I hope you all have a wonderful day. Peace and blessings. This is Khatib.
Pitty Pat and Providence. What a simple card game taught me about faith, family, and forgiveness. Written by Khatib Shunner. Another Khatib Shunner audio-only series. Author's opening words. Before y'all get comfortable, let me tell y'all something. If you're listening to this while you're driving, don't miss your exit fooling around laughing. If you're standing over the stove, don't burn the roux. If you're eating, don't choke on your red beans, because every now and then these reflections sneak up on you. They'll make you laugh, then hug your heart, then leave your spirit sitting quietly in a place you didn't expect to be. That's life. 1 minute you're laughing so hard your stomach hurt. The next minute you're staring out the window thinking about people you haven't called in years. Welcome back to another Khatib Shunner audio-only series. Tonight we ain't talking about politics. We ain't debating who's gumbo the best because everybody in New Orleans swear their mama got the recipe the creator personally whispered into her ear. We definitely ain't discussing potato salad because, some of y'all need to stop volunteering. Every calling ain't your calling. If your potato salad got folks praying before the first bite, that ain't faith. That's survival. Now don't get offended. Laugh a little. If I stepped on your toes, slide your feet over. Mine got stepped on writing this. Tonight we're talking about something every single person on this earth got a relationship with one way or another. Family. Now that's a word that'll make you smile and sigh in the same breath. For some folks, it brings warm memories. For others, it brings complicated ones. Some hear the word and think about Sunday dinners. Some think about hospital rooms. Some think about graduations. Some think about funerals. Some remember laughter so loud the neighbors started laughing without even knowing the joke. Others remember silence that somehow made more noise than words ever could. That's family, beautiful, complicated, messy, sacred. See, somewhere along the way we started believing that strong families are the ones who never disagree. Baby, whoever told us that must have never been to a real family gathering. Real families disagree, real families get loud, real families misunderstand one another, real families accidentally hurt feelings, real families sometimes need space, real families apologize. Well, at least eventually. Sometimes that eventually take a little longer than it should. Matter of fact, some families can hold on to a grudge so long, the grudge start paying property taxes. You ask somebody what happened and they say, I'm still mad about what happened back in 1996. 1996. Baby, let it go. The Saints done changed quarterbacks. Children done grew up. Grandbabies done graduated. The potholes still ain't got fixed. And you're still carrying around something heavier than a cast iron skillet. Put it down. I ain't saying forgiveness easy. I'm saying bitterness heavy. And carrying heavy things too long will bend even the strongest back. Now before anybody starts pointing fingers at cousins, sisters, brothers, aunties, uncles, or that one family member who somehow always disappear the minute it's time to wash dishes, let me point this finger right here at myself. I have fallen short. I have misunderstood people. I have let people down. Sometimes I knew I was wrong. Sometimes I didn't realize it until life humbled me later. The truth is, I'm still learning. I'm still growing. The Creator ain't finished working on me yet. So this reflection ain't coming from somebody sitting high on a mountaintop pretending they got all the answers. It's coming from somebody still climbing, still stumbling every now and then, and still thanking the Creator for enough grace to get back up. The other night, my cousins gathered at my house like we try to do about every other week whenever life gives us a little breathing room. Nothing fancy, nothing expensive. Just family, my dining room table, a deck of Pitty Pat cards, a few quarters, a handful of paper dollars, just enough to keep folks honest, or at least keep them arguing. Google had the speakers working overtime, bouncing from old school rhythm and blues to a little New Orleans bounce. Before long, somebody was singing louder than the actual artist. Wrong words, wrong key, enough confidence to headline Jazz Fest. Now that's New Orleans. The smell of my vegetable egg rolls drifted from the kitchen and wrapped itself around the whole house like it was calling everybody by name. Meanwhile, one of my cousins had a big pot of yacamine sitting on my stove, filling every corner of the house with the kind of aroma that'll make a full person fix another bowl just to make sure it still tastes the same. Now, if you don't know what yacamine is, bless your heart. Around New Orleans, yacamine is the second truth right behind gumbo. Yeah, I said that. Some of y'all probably just sat straight up. Somebody probably paused this audio just to argue with me. Go ahead, I'll wait. After one of them long days when life been throwing punches, or after one of them nights where your liver's still writing complaint letters, baby, a bowl of yacamine ain't just food. It's comfort. It's compassion. It's New Orleans hugging you from the inside out. Then somebody hollered from the kitchen, "Where the hot sauce at?" Now mind you, the hot sauce was sitting right there on the counter. Plain as day, didn't move, didn't hide, didn't grow legs. Everybody started laughing because that's family. Sometimes we can look dead at something and still not see it. Funny, that ain't just true about hot sauce. Sometimes it's true about each other too. We overlook the people sitting right in front of us. We miss the hurt hiding behind the smile. We miss the apology somebody don't quite know how to say. We miss the affection that's been there all along because we've been looking somewhere else. And before the first card was ever dealt, the Creator had already started teaching me. Some lessons don't announce themselves. They don't come wearing a suit. They don't stand behind a pulpit. Sometimes they pull up a chair at your dining room table. Somebody finally picked up the deck. All right now, who dealing? I got it. No, not you. Why not me? Because every time you deal, you somehow end up with all the good cards. I don't cheat. You ain't got to. Lady Luck done adopted you. The whole table burst into laughter. Before long, the cards started making their way around the table. 'Cause you slept on your hand. I did not. You sure did. I wouldn't sleep on my hand if it was the last hand in Orleans Parish. You lying. You just mad because I won't throw you out. Next thing you know, everybody started talking at the same time. 3 conversations, 1 dining room, nobody taking turns. Somehow, everybody still understood everybody. Baby, that's New Orleans. We don't wait on silence to have a conversation. We just jump in and trust somebody gonna make sense out of all the noise. Every now and then somebody would get up from the table, walk into my kitchen, grab another vegetable egg roll, stir the yucca mean, fix another bowl, then come back like they never left. One cousin hollered, "Don't play my hand while I'm in the kitchen." Another cousin shot back, "Baby, with the cards you got, we couldn't help you if we tried. Lord have mercy." The dining room almost fell apart laughing. I leaned back in my chair for a moment. Not because I was tired, because my spirit had gotten quiet. While everybody else was looking at the cards, I started looking at the hands holding them. Those hands weren't ordinary. Those hands had buried loved ones. Those hands had rocked babies to sleep. Those hands had signed divorce papers. Those hands had filled out job applications. Those hands had worked double shifts. Those hands had cooked Sunday dinners. Those hands had folded in prayer when life didn't make no sense. Those hands had wiped away tears nobody else ever saw. The cards suddenly became the least important thing on the table. Then the Creator whispered something into my spirit. "Khatib, quit counting the cards. Count the blessings sitting around the table." Whew, that settled deep inside me. Because every person sitting in my dining room had a story. Every smile had survived something. Every laugh had fought through something. Every heart had been bruised by something. Yet there we were, still together, still choosing one another, still laughing loud enough for the neighbors to wonder what in the world was so funny. That's when I heard Granny's voice in my memory. She used to say, "Baby, when a family can still laugh together after everything life done threw at 'em, don't ever call that luck, call that grace." Back then I thought she was just talking. That night, I finally understood what she meant. Granny had a way of doing that. She could say one sentence and it'd take you 20 years to understand it. Back then I'd just nod my head like I knew exactly what she was talking about. Truth be told, I didn't have the slightest idea. Life hadn't introduced me to enough life yet. See, wisdom is funny like that. It'll sit quietly in your spirit until experience finally opens the door. I can still hear Granny saying, "Baby, every family got a little smoke coming out the chimney. Don't mean the house on fire. Lord, if that ain't the truth, some families fuss loud, some fuss quiet, some stop talking for a little while, some need time to cool off." But every disagreement ain't the end of the story. Sometimes it's just an uncomfortable chapter. That's when I remembered an old story Granny used to tell me about a man everybody called Thibodeau. Now don't go looking for this story on the internet because you won't find it. This story belongs to New Orleans. It belongs on front porches where elders rocked slow enough to hear the evening. It belongs in kitchens where recipes and wisdom were passed around in the very same bowl. It belongs in neighborhoods where stories traveled farther than automobiles because somebody always had time to sit and listen. Granny said Thibodeau wasn't known for having the biggest house. He wasn't the richest man either. Matter of fact, if you judged him by money, you would have overlooked him. But if you judged him by the people who kept showing up at his house, baby, you'd swear he owned the whole city. Every Sunday evening, folks gathered around his old cedar table. Children, grandchildren, cousins, neighbors, even people who weren't kin somehow became family before the night was over. Nobody needed an invitation. If your heart was heavy, Thibodeau's door somehow knew to stay open. One Sunday, his youngest grandson looked around that old cedar table and asked, "Paw, why you keep fixing this old thing? Every time I come over, you got another nail in it. Why not buy a brand new table?" Everybody laughed because they had all wondered the same thing. Thibodeau didn't answer. He just smiled that old knowing smile. The next Sunday, the boy asked again. Still no answer. On the third Sunday, before anybody sat down to eat, Thibodeau carried that weathered table into the yard. Everybody followed behind him, wondering what that old man was up to now. He poured a bucket of water across the top. The water settled into every crack, every groove, every scar the years had carved into the wood. Then he looked at everybody gathered around him and asked, "What y'all see?" "The table all cracked up," one cousin answered. Another said, "It's worn out." A little girl spoke up from the back. "I see where we've been." Thibodeau smiled so wide the wrinkles around his eyes started smiling too. "There it is," he said softly. Then he ran his hand across the table. "This crack happened the year the wind tried to take this house." His hand moved to another mark. "That stain came from your ma spilling coffee because she laughed so hard she couldn't hold her cup." He pointed to another place where the wood had darkened. "That's where your mama cried after we prayed for your uncle and he came home safe." Nobody said a word. Even the children got quiet. Then Thibodeau said something Granny carried with her until the day the Creator called her home. "A family ain't measured by how smooth the table looks. It's measured by how many people keep coming back to it." That story rushed through my mind while I sat there looking around my own dining room, at my cousins, at the cards, at the quarters scattered across the table, at the empty egg roll tray sitting in my kitchen, at the pot of yakameen that somehow kept getting lighter every time I turned around, and I smiled. Because I realized my dining room wasn't just holding a card game, it was holding another chapter in my family's story. The more I looked around that table, the more I realized we weren't just playing a game. We were preserving something. See, the world teaches us how to build careers, how to make money, how to chase success, how to collect followers, how to impress strangers. But somewhere along the way, it forgot to teach us how to keep calling our cousins, how to check on an auntie just because she crossed your mind, how to tell your brother, "I love you," without waiting for a funeral to loosen your tongue, how to disagree without declaring war. Family don't come with an instruction manual. Lord knows if it did, half of us still wouldn't read it. We'd throw the directions away and then wonder why we got extra screws left over. Sound familiar? That's us. That's life. That's family. Somewhere between another hand of Pitty Pat and another bowl of yakameen, I caught myself smiling. Not because everything in my family has always been perfect. Far from it. We've had misunderstandings. We've had seasons where folks needed their space. We've had moments when words were spoken that probably should have stayed behind somebody's teeth. We've had tears. We've had disappointments. We've had silence. But we've also had something stronger. We've kept finding our way back. Maybe not as fast as we should have. Maybe not as gracefully as we could have. But somehow, the road always seemed to lead back toward one another. That ain't weakness. That's grace. I honestly believe every family has two tables. One is built by pride, the other is built by compassion. The table built by pride always has empty chairs. The table built by compassion keeps making room, and sometimes making room means listening instead of defending yourself. Sometimes making room means admitting you were wrong. Now I know some of y'all probably just got uncomfortable. Good. I did too while writing this, because accountability don't taste as sweet as my vegetable egg rolls. But it'll feed your spirit a whole lot longer. The Creator has a funny way of humbling us, sometimes through victories, sometimes through failure, sometimes through a quiet evening in your own dining room surrounded by people you've known your whole life. Looking around that table, I realized every one of us was carrying something invisible. Somebody was worried about their health. Somebody was grieving somebody they still missed. Somebody was smiling through financial struggles. Somebody was praying for a child. Somebody was waiting on good news. Somebody was trying to stay strong while secretly feeling tired. Yet for those few hours, nobody carried those burdens by themselves. That's what family is supposed to do, not remove every burden. Just help you carry it. The Creator never promised we'd all think alike. The Creator never promised we'd never hurt one another. But maybe, just maybe, the Creator gave us family so we'd always have a place where healing could begin again. I looked down at the quarters scattered across the table and couldn't help but laugh. Imagine that. We'd spent all evening trying to win a few dollars when the richest thing in the room couldn't fit inside a wallet. It was sitting in the chairs around my dining room table. It was laughing. It was arguing over cards. It was asking for more hot sauce. It was sneaking another egg roll. It was telling old stories for the 100th time like they were brand new. It was family. And suddenly I understood something that had been hiding in plain sight all evening. We spend our lives chasing treasure while sitting at it every other week. Phew. That'll preach all by itself. I don't know what your family looks like. I don't know what you've been through. Maybe you're close. Maybe you're distant. Maybe you're praying for reconciliation. Maybe you're learning healthy boundaries. Maybe you're mourning somebody whose chair now sits empty. Whatever your story is, I pray you never stop believing that hearts can heal, that conversations can happen, that forgiveness can grow, that compassion can outlive pride. And if today your family isn't where you hope it'll be, don't lose hope. Trees don't grow overnight, neither do relationships. Keep watering them with patience, keep feeding them with honesty, keep protecting them with grace. One conversation, one hug, one phone call, one prayer at a time. Because the strongest families were never built in one day. They were built one act of mercy at a time. One act of forgiveness at a time, one shared meal at a time, one gathering around the table at a time. And maybe that's why I'll never look at another game of Pitty Pat the same way again. I thought we came together to play cards. The Creator knew we had gathered to reshuffle something far more important. Our hearts. There were 7 of us crowded around my dining room table playing Pitty Pat. The buy-in wasn't nothing serious. Just 50 cents a hand. Every hand stood on its own. Whoever won that hand collected their 50 cents from everybody else. Then we shuffled the cards and started all over again. Simple. Or at least it was supposed to be. Because every few hands somebody would holler, "Hold on now, you still owe me my 50 cents from that last hand." I paid you. No, you didn't. Yes, I did. 'Cause you trying to get rich off 50 cents. Baby, in this economy, every 50 cents got a purpose. The whole table would fall apart laughing. Another hand would get dealt. Somebody would win. Money would slide across the table. Somebody would celebrate like they had just won the lottery. Somebody else would swear the cards had a personal grudge against them. Then we'd shuffle and do it all over again. Looking back now, I don't remember who won the most hands. I don't remember who went home with the most money. Truth be told, that wasn't what stayed with me. What stayed with me was watching 7 people who had lived 7 different lives, carried 7 different burdens, and walked 7 different paths, somehow find themselves sitting around one dining room table laughing like children again. That's the kind of wealth no 50-cent hand could ever buy. Another hand came and went. Another 50 cents changed hands. Somebody celebrated like they had just paid off their mortgage. Somebody else looked at their cards, shook their head, and said, "These cards got a personal problem with me." Another cousin hollered, "Baby, don't blame the cards. They just reflecting your poor decision making." Lord have mercy. The whole dining room almost came apart. Every hand ended the same way. Somebody laughing, somebody fussing, somebody reaching for another vegetable egg roll, somebody walking back into my kitchen talking about, "I'm just checking on the yakameen." Checking on it? Baby. That pot done got checked on so many times it deserved privacy. By the end of the night, there wasn't enough yakameen left to feed a mosquito. Now, if you've got family, then you already know this next part. Nobody leaves when they first say they leaving. One cousin grabbed their keys and then started another conversation. Another cousin walked to the front door, then remembered one more story they just had to tell. Somebody hugged everybody twice. Somebody forgot their phone. Turns out it was in their back pocket the whole time. Another cousin said, "All right, y'all, I'm serious this time." 20 minutes later, they were still standing in my doorway talking. Baby, saying goodbye in New Orleans is an event. You don't leave, you slowly evaporate. Finally, the headlights disappeared down the street. The music had stopped. The laughter had settled into the walls of my house. I walked back into my dining room. The cards were still sitting on the table waiting for another game. A lonely quarter had rolled underneath one of the chairs. The smell of vegetable egg rolls still lingered in my kitchen. The yakameen pot sat on my stove looking like it had survived a hurricane. I just stood there, quiet, grateful. Then the Creator whispered something into my spirit that I don't believe I'll ever forget. Khatib, this is what people are starving for. Not the egg rolls, not the yakameen, not even the card game. People are starving for belonging, for conversations that don't require pretending, for laughter that don't cost nothing, for somebody to say, "Come on in, pull up a chair," for a place where they can simply be themselves. That's when it all made sense. We thought we had gathered to play Pitty Pat. The Creator knew we had gathered to practice something much greater. Grace, patience, forgiveness, listening, showing up, choosing one another again. Family will disappoint you, you'll disappoint family. That's part of being human. But don't let one bad chapter convince you to throw away the whole book. Don't let one disagreement become 20 years of silence. Don't wait until a funeral to tell somebody they mattered. Don't wait until a chair sits empty before you realize how much you miss the person who used to fill it. If the Creator places somebody on your heart after listening to this, call them. If wisdom allows it, make the first move. Sometimes healing begins with nothing more than, "Baby, how you been?" Before I turned the lights off in my dining room, I smiled one last time. Not because somebody won the most 50-cent hands. I honestly couldn't tell you who did. But I can tell you this. Family won, love won, grace won, and somewhere between a deck of Pitty Pat cards, a tray of vegetable egg rolls, a pot of yakamine, and 7 cousins talking over one another louder than the music, the Creator reminded me that the greatest inheritance we can ever leave behind isn't money. It's memories. It's mercy. It's making sure the people we love never have to question whether they belong. Because when it's all said and done, nobody remembers who won the most hands, but they'll always remember how you made them feel sitting around your table. Author's closing words. Family, thank y'all for spending this time with me. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for welcoming my words into your ears, your homes, and hopefully your spirit. If this reflection made you laugh, challenged your heart, reminded you of someone you need to call, or simply encouraged you to cherish your family a little more, then I ask one humble favor. Please share this Khatib Shunner audio-only series by any positive means. Send it to your cousins, your mama, your daddy, your brothers, your sisters, your church family, your co-workers, even that hard-headed relative who swear they don't need nobody. Baby, they probably need it the most. If you'd like to support my writing in this blog, I humbly ask you to consider making a donation. Every share, every encouraging word, every prayer, and every contribution helps me continue creating reflections that bring people together one story at a time. Until we meet again, love deeply, laugh often, forgive when wisdom allows. Keep your dining room table ready. You never know when the Creator is about to turn an ordinary evening into a memory your heart will treasure for the rest of your life. This is Khatib Shana saying, take care of yourself and don't forget to call your family. Peace, love, red beans, and ricely yours.
Khatib Shanor. Thank you all for listening to this beautiful piece. And once again, I want to give a shout out to all of my family, my cousins, my lovely cousins far and near. And I want to give a shout out to all of my friends. And I want to leave you with a question. You think about this, okay? You think about it, you meditate on it, and you answer it for yourself. How can a person tell you the truth when they have been misinformed? How can a person tell you the truth when they have been misinformed? Peace and blessings. Until next time, this is Khatib Shanar.